So we're here in Base Court. This was really the hub of Cardinal Wolsey's palace. He's the one who first built Hampton Court 500 years ago, and he made it this magnificent palace, so magnificent that it caused some unease, some whispers at court about just how grand the cardinal was becoming. And then Henry later inherits the palace and he makes it his own.
And Wolsey is a very important character in my story. So when I come here, I always feel that Wolsey is around. And that means that Thomas Cromwell is around. So all we have to do is track them through the rooms. Only looking at the Tudor bits, I've developed an ability not to see anything that happens or is created after 1540. I'm always conscious that this was made by the flamboyant, charismatic cardinal, and that, yes, it was indeed part of the way he outraged people. Everything was bigger and better and more expensive with Wolsey. And naturally it attracted jealousy and envy. The king was wary of a subject who'd grown so great, sending out a signal when he took over the palace.
Despite the fact that Henry had inherited this vast complex that was Hampton Court, he made it even bigger and better, particularly adding the Great Hall, which is one of the finest examples of a Tudor Great Hall today. Also, you can see how he slightly reworked Cardinal Wolsey's arms. He repainted them, he made them more royal. He wanted to put his own stamp on the palace, and it's now seen not as Wolsey's palace, but as Henry's palace.
When the first Tudor king, Henry VII, came to the throne, he won that throne in battle. This was taken as a sign of God's favour. The Tudors weren't actually all that royal. Their claim to the throne was very slender. So they had to become, right from the first moment, consummate PR people.
On the one hand, it was a show palace for Henry, and it was completely built around his needs, around his daily routine, but it also had to satisfy the most senior members of his court, and certainly to satisfy the visitors who Henry was trying to impress.
They had to construct the picture of a dynasty born to rule. The physical magnificence of Henry, when he came to the throne as a young prince, seemed to bear out the Tudors were the right people in the right place. But how to sustain that image?
By the end of the 17th century, when William and Mary came to the throne and they were determined to remodel Hampton Court. It was considered old-fashioned as a Tudor palace. It was inconvenient, it was drafty. They wanted to bring in the latest designs. And yet when they began the project, they started to fall back in love with the Tudor palace, and they decided to preserve a great deal of it, certainly the most important elements of Henry's palace, because they had that sense of importance, of the significance of the Tudor palace. They wanted the continuity of the monarchy from the Tudor period through into the Stuarts and now their own reign. And I think today the significance of Hampton Court as a Tudor palace is undiminished. In fact, it's probably enhanced with the current fervour for all things Tudor, which is greater than ever before, thanks to the novels of Hilary and their adaptations. And people are coming to Hampton Court as a direct result of that. They want to see, as they put it, the real Wolf Hall.
And the palace breathes the spirit of these two very charismatic men, Thomas Cardinal Wolsey and Henry VIII.